Chosen one, don't just listen with your ears. Listen with the part of you that already knows. You didn't land here randomly. This isn't luck, timing tricks, or an algorithm doing its thing. This moment was arranged. Your steps were guided here on purpose. And there is a reason your attention is locked in right now. Something has shifted. The invisible clock has struck its mark, and you are standing at the edge of a moment that carries weight. This isn't just another day blending into the rest. This is the day. A window that's been open for a long season is beginning to close, and the hour that was appointed long before you were born has arrived. Scripture reminds us that everything has its appointed season, its precise moment under heaven. And another promise echoes just as clearly. Even if a vision seems delayed, it will arrive exactly when it's meant to. It will not miss its mark. That time is no longer future tense. It's now. You are positioned on the brink of a shift that could break through at any moment. Today, tonight, even in the next few hours. What you've been praying for, aching for, quietly hoping would change, is pressing right up against the surface of your life. This is sacred timing. Your breakthrough has been scheduled, and moments like this demand a response. Lean in. This is not an ordinary pause in your day. If this message resonated with you, like this video. Liking is not a click. It is confirmation. It is you saying, I receive this. I agree with this timing. If you feel this channel speaks directly to your spirit, subscribe now. Subscription is not casual. It is alignment. It places you where future messages meant for you can find you. We are moving toward 5,000 subscribers, and understand this. Numbers matter not for ego, but for reach. Every subscription pushes this message to another chosen one standing at their own threshold. Someone else is waiting for what you just heard, so don't keep this to yourself. Share this message with someone who feels stuck, delayed, or afraid to move. And write this in the comments now as a declaration. I step forward. I do not delay. Chosen one, this channel exists for those who refuse to stay trapped in waiting, fear, or spiritual excuses. Here we move. Here we act. Here we answer when heaven calls. You didn't find this message by accident, and you won't leave unchanged. The step is yours. The moment is now. For a while now, heaven has been tapping your spirit. Through dreams that linger, patterns you can't ignore, signs that keep repeating until you stop brushing them off. You're standing at a crossing point now, one of those rare thresholds where hesitation costs more than action. I'm not saying this to frighten you. I'm saying it because I've stood here before. I know the sting of realizing you let a moment pass because you waited too long. For months, maybe even years, it's felt like delay has followed you everywhere. Like standing in front of a locked door while the key sits heavy in your pocket. But today, that door isn't dull anymore. It's lit up, and the invitation is simple. Turn the key. If you don't, you risk waking up in another loop, walking the same emotional ground, circling the same mountain again. I know this because I once waited for everything to be perfect before moving. I kept telling myself God would drop the miracle into my hands when the time was right, never realizing He was waiting for me to move first. That's the first trap. It's subtle. It looks spiritual. It sounds like patience, but it's fear dressed up as faith. I've said the words myself. If it's meant for me, it will come. If God wants this, He'll open the door. It felt safe. It felt holy. But heaven never asked me to play it safe. Heaven asked me to step forward, even when I couldn't see the ground yet. And here's the truth I learned. When you step, the ground appears. This trap is dangerous precisely because it feels righteous. It convinces you that stillness equals faith. But real divine timing isn't passive. It's what happens when your obedience collides with heaven's opportunity. God breathes on movement. If you never move, there's nothing to bless. Be honest with yourself for a moment. Are you waiting for money before you start what was placed in your heart? Waiting to feel completely healed before letting love back in? Waiting for a dramatic sign while ignoring the quiet nudge telling you to speak, create, reach out, begin? That kind of waiting keeps you stuck in almost. And almost is where destinies quietly fade. I remember begging for clarity night after night, asking God to spell out my calling. Silence. Then one day, exhausted from waiting, I did something small. I encouraged one person. That single act cracked something open. Doors started opening. Not because I had the full plan, but because I moved. That's how heaven works. The sign you're waiting for isn't coming later. It's already here, in the urgency you feel pressing on your spirit. The fact that you're hearing this right now is confirmation. Destiny is already in motion. Standing still now is like standing on train tracks asking permission while the engine is already coming. The train is the signal. So hear this clearly. Take a step. Any step. Even if it feels awkward, small, or illogical. Movement in the dark activates light ahead of you. Seal it with your words. Say it out loud. I am the action. For too long, your identity has been the one who waits. Today, that changes. This isn't arrogance. It's alignment with how you were designed. Let me be honest with you. I used to think humility meant staying back, not acting unless everything was certain. But humility isn't inactivity. Humility is obedience. And obedience is rarely neat. It looks like making the call with shaking hands, starting the work before the plan is complete, stepping into the arena while your armor still has dents. That's surrender. The cure for passive waiting isn't frantic effort or forcing outcomes. It's inspired action. Listening to the quiet whisper instead of waiting for thunder. Write the line. Send the message. Make the plan. These small nudges are breadcrumbs of divine timing. You're not being asked to build the entire house today. Just lay the first brick. I've watched heaven respond again and again to small acts of obedience. One recording, one story, one step. God moves where there is movement. The universe does not partner with hesitation. It responds to faith in motion. So the question is simple. Will you act, or will you let this moment pass and wake up tomorrow in the same familiar loop? Heaven has already said yes. Now it's your turn. Take a deep breath. Inhale courage. Exhale fear. Whisper it with me. I am the action. This isn't just a phrase. It's a decision, a covenant, a signal to heaven that you're done waiting and ready to participate in the future written for you. And understand this. The moment you step out of passivity, resistance will come. The enemy doesn't give up ground quietly. Often, the next trap arrives disguised as wisdom, healing, or self-care. It looks gentle. It sounds loving. But it can still stop you. Before we go there, pause. Notice what's already changing. Your heart rate, the clarity, that inner yes. Heaven has already aligned with your decision. Listen carefully. When people finally rise out of passive waiting, they're often pulled into a second trap. Endless healing. It feels noble, responsible, even spiritual. I can't move forward until I'm fully healed. I can't live my purpose until every wound is gone. That sounds wise, but it's deception. Healing was never meant to be a destination. It's a process designed to move you forward. I know because I lived inside that loop. Journals filled with pain, endless self-analysis, reliving the past, and nothing changed because healing had become my identity. My wounds were real, but they had become my name. Hear this, your pain is valid, but it is not who you are. Healing is sacred, but it was never meant to be your permanent address. Wounds are teachers, not altars. The enemy can't stop you from seeking wholeness, so he keeps you focused on what hurt you instead of where you're going. It feels productive, but ask yourself, are you freer, lighter, more alive, or just better at explaining your pain? Healing isn't meant to chain you. It's meant to release you. The real question isn't, am I healed enough? It's, am I willing to live, even with my scars? Your scars are not your restraints. They are your credentials, proof of what you survived, proof of the oil you carry. Say this out loud, my scars are my strength. Write it, speak it, own it. The moment you stop hiding your scars and start carrying them with authority, everything changes. The world doesn't need more people analyzing their pain. It needs the medicine only your story can produce. True healing happens in motion. You don't wait to live until you're healed. You live, and in living, you heal. Something unexpected happened along the way. As I spoke life into others, life began stitching me back together too. Every act of giving repaired a place in me I didn't even know was torn. That's when I understood. Healing was never meant to stop with me. It was meant to overflow. God never said, fix yourself completely, then come. He said, His strength reaches fullness right inside weakness. If you wait to be flawless, you will wait endlessly. But if you move forward in faith, even with a limp, you'll discover a strength rising in you that logic can't explain. So from this moment on, stop waking up asking, what still needs to be repaired? Instead, ask, how can I serve with what I already carry? That single question unlocks destiny. It pulls your focus out of the past and redirects it toward purpose. It transforms scars from excuses into instruments of power. Imagine for a moment if every battle-worn soul stood up today and offered what they already survived. The ground would tremble. That's exactly why resistance fights so hard to keep you stalled here. Because the instant you declare, my scars are my strength, you become impossible to stop. Breathe this in slowly. You are not your injury. You are the warrior who crossed through it and remained standing. Your scars aren't marks of shame. They are signatures of endurance. They prove you were chosen to endure and to carry oil. Hear this clearly. The cycle of endless healing is collapsing beneath you. You are not staying here. You are moving forward. And as you rise, another test will appear. More refined, more convincing, disguised as wisdom itself. It will suggest that understanding is the same as transformation. But it's another illusion. Pause for a second, though. Feel what's already shifting. The atmosphere has changed. By reclaiming your scars as power, you've broken something ancient. You're stepping out of isolation, and the terrain itself is adjusting in your favor. Take courage. You are not defined by what shattered you. You are defined by how God is using what shattered you to heal others. Say it again, with certainty. My scars are my superpowers. Now we move forward. Listen closely. The next trap doesn't come loud. It comes polished, articulate, and convincing. It tells you that if you just learn a little more, analyze a little deeper, study a little longer, then change will arrive. This is the snare of intellectual spirituality. Knowledge without embodiment. I call it becoming a curator of truth instead of a carrier of it. You gather books, highlight passages, absorb sermons, quote teachers, debate ideas. From the outside, it looks impressive, but inside, the same patterns repeat. I know this trap well. I lived in it. There was a season where my shelves were full, my playlists spiritual, my language refined, yet my life carried no fruit. I could explain surrender, but never rest. Talk abundance while remaining empty. Teach forgiveness while resentment still tightened my chest. My mouth sounded awakened. My life hadn't caught up. This trap feels productive, which makes it dangerous. The ego loves knowledge because it feels powerful. But information alone doesn't transform. Embodied truth does. Heaven doesn't measure how much you've studied. Heaven responds to what you live. Imagine standing before a locked gate. Years pass as you study the lock. Sketch it. Debate which key fits. But you never turn the key already in your hand. That's what this trap looks like. Ask yourself honestly, do I read about prayer more than I pray? Talk about stillness, but avoid silence. Quote truth, but abandon it under pressure? If so, you're not lacking wisdom. You're lacking embodiment. The world doesn't need more commentators. It needs conduits, living testimonies whose lives preach louder than their words. The proof of wisdom isn't eloquence. It's peace under fire. Compassion when retaliation would be easier. Courage when fear is justified. The remedy is radical simplicity. Choose one truth, one practice, one discipline, and live it fully. Not 10, not 20. 1. 5 minutes of silence before the day begins. Gratitude written daily. Choosing restraint instead of reaction. One seed, lived faithfully, grows into a tree. I remember the moment I stopped studying forgiveness and actually forgave. My body shook. My pride resisted. But the moment the words left my mouth, something lifted. That single act changed more than years of learning ever did. Because embodiment is where heaven and earth meet. Say this now. I am the living wisdom. Not I know wisdom. Not I study wisdom. But I am. Let that mark your spirit. Your ego may resist. It prefers libraries to altars. Quoting truth feels safer than becoming it. But heaven doesn't examine your notes. It watches your choices. One truth lived in faith outweighs 1,000 ideas spoken without action. So here's the challenge. For every hour you consume, spend time practicing. Read about compassion, then forgive. Study abundance, then give. Learn about prayer, then pray. Let your life become the message. You weren't called to store information. You were called to carry presence. The world is changed not by theories, but by embodied souls who bring light into ordinary spaces. Say it again, anchored now. I am the living wisdom. And as you rise from this snare, prepare yourself, because the next illusion doesn't target your mind. It goes for your heart. For now, breathe. You are no longer a collector. You are a carrier, not just informed, but transformed. And heaven takes notice, because you chose to live, not just to learn. Chosen one, listen carefully. You've already crossed fire. You dismantled waiting. You escaped endless healing. You stepped out of spiritual pride. Now the path narrows. The next trap is softer, emotional, tied to the deepest human desire, to belong. It arrives disguised as community, as your people, as safety. This is the trap of the spiritual echo chamber. As awakening deepens, loneliness often follows. Old relationships may fade. Familiar spaces may no longer fit. You begin speaking a language of purpose others can't hear. So when you find people who understand, the relief is powerful. Finally, connection, validation, a place that feels like home. And at first, it truly can be. Community is a gift. when it lifts you forward. But the danger appears when a circle meant to launch you forward slowly turns into a cage. When being accepted by the group begins to matter more than being aligned with your own spirit. When shared beliefs quietly replace your personal discernment. That's the moment belonging mutates into bondage. Chosen one, I've witnessed this too many times. What begins as a gathering of seekers slowly becomes a system of agreement. If the leader defines truth, no one questions it. If the group adopts a belief, a lifestyle, a prophecy, you're expected to comply or risk being pushed out. Over time, your direct connection to God's voice becomes filtered through collective approval. And the most dangerous part? It doesn't feel like manipulation. It feels like love. It feels like safety. It feels like family. But it costs you your fire. Little by little, the edge of your calling dulls under the weight of consensus. Your originality fades. Your inner knowing quiets. Anointed one, hear this clearly. You were never designed to blend in. You were shaped to lead, to pioneer, to walk paths others are too afraid to touch. That calling requires seasons of solitude. Do not confuse being alone with being abandoned. Sometimes heaven separates you not to punish you, but to fortify your spine, to ensure your loyalty is to God, not to crowds. True community does not fear your difference, it honors it. If a group requires you to shrink, soften, or silence your voice to belong, it has crossed the line. That is no longer fellowship, it is captivity. I've faced this test myself. I once belonged to a circle that lifted me, until it didn't. I noticed I was editing my insights, suppressing what I sensed, ignoring the nudges in my spirit so I wouldn't disrupt the narrative. Then God spoke plainly. If you choose their approval over my assignment, you surrender your authority. That word shook me to my core. I walked away, and the moment I did, clarity poured in like sunlight after a storm. Chosen one, this test stands before you now. Will you cling to comfort or claim sovereignty? Will you exchange divine guidance for applause? Or will you walk the narrow road that leads to your throne? The remedy is radical self-trust. Declare it now. I am my own North Star. Say it out loud. Write it. Anchor it. This is your vow to navigate by the compass God placed inside you. Even if no one else understands. You are not rejecting love. You are refusing control disguised as love. Once this truth settles, community transforms. You can connect without conforming. You can belong without being bound. You can love deeply without losing direction. That is freedom. Understand this. Leaders are not formed in echo chambers. They are forged in silence, in wilderness, in lonely obedience. Moses stood alone on the mountain. Elijah sat alone in the cave. Jesus entered the wilderness alone. Before every great assignment, there is separation. And in that separation, clarity becomes unshakable. So don't fear if God is loosening your ties. Don't resist if the nest feels tight. You are being prepared to soar higher than the group ever imagined. Take heart. Your path is sacred, even when it's solitary. You are not lost. You are being led. You are not abandoned. You are being anointed. And the silence around you is not empty. It is saturated with God's voice, training you to follow without filters. So hold this charge close. Love community, but never idolize it. Honor people, but never surrender your compass. Value belonging, but never trade your soul. Say it again with strength. I am my own North Star. With that declaration, you reclaim sovereignty. You step forward whole, grounded, and free. And now, prepare yourself. Because once you reclaim your sovereignty, the next challenge doesn't target your heart. It targets your energy. The fifth trap is subtle. It masquerades as virtue. It is praised by the world. Yet, it drains you faster than any enemy. Listen with your whole being. This is the trap of undiscerning empathy, disguised as compassion. Chosen one, you feel deeply. You always have. You sense the mood of a room before words are spoken. You carry others' grief in your chest. World events shake you to your core. This sensitivity is not weakness. It is proof of your anointing. But when empathy lacks wisdom, it becomes a leak. This trap tells you that to be good, you must be endlessly open. That boundaries are selfish. That real service requires absorbing everyone's pain, even if it destroys you. So you listen long past exhaustion. You answer every call. You give time, money, energy to those who do not honor it. And then you wonder why you feel empty, why your power feels dim, why your vision is blurred. Hear this truth. Compassion is holy. Self-erasure is not. The world applauds endless availability. But heaven watches how you guard what is sacred. Your energy is not ordinary. It is consecrated. It is your second temple. And no temple leaves its doors open to every thief, every defiler, every careless visitor. Even Jesus withdrew. Crowds followed him, but he stepped away to pray. Why? Because you cannot pour from emptiness. You cannot heal others by abandoning yourself. True compassion is not drowning alongside the hurting. It is standing grounded, shining light so they remember how to rise. I learned this the hard way. There was a season when I said yes to everyone. I felt needed until I was depleted. My prayers weakened. My clarity faded. Then God whispered, "You have confused pity with compassion. My compassion empowers. Your pity drains." That revelation changed everything. The enemy loves unguarded empaths because leaking energy prevents leadership. You end up repairing everyone else's vessel while your own mission sinks. That is not service. That is sabotage. The solution is sacred boundaries. Compassion paired with discernment. The strength to say, "I see your pain. I honor your journey, but I will not carry what is not mine." This is not coldness. It is respect for yourself and for their God-given ability to heal. Declare this now. My energy is my second temple. Speak it. Write it. Feel it. As you do, imagine a field of golden light surrounding you. Nothing enters unless it aligns with truth, love, and purpose. This shield doesn't isolate you. It sanctifies you. Practically, this means saying no without guilt. Fasting from draining conversations. Clearing your energy daily through prayer, stillness, or intention. Choosing carefully who earns access to your inner circle. Not everyone belongs in the Holy of Holies. Yes, some will resist your boundaries. They may call you selfish. They may apply pressure. This is the test. Are you loyal to your assignment or to approval? Every loving no is a yes to destiny. When you guard your energy, vitality returns, creativity flows, discernment sharpens. And finally, you have the strength to build what you were born to carry. Chosen one, pause here. Feel what has shifted. This is not motivation. This is confirmation. You didn't stumble across these words by accident. You stayed because your spirit recognized truth calling truth. What you've just received is not meant to entertain you. It is meant to activate you. This is the moment where revelation becomes responsibility, where insight becomes embodiment, where hearing transforms into becoming. You are no longer the same person who pressed play. Something has aligned, something has sealed, something has awakened. Now understand this clearly. Messages like this do not come to everyone. They come to those who are ready to carry weight light, and leadership. If these words resonated, it's because your spirit is already tuned to this frequency, and frequency attracts assignment. So hear this final instruction, chosen one. Do not walk this path in silence. Do not consume revelation and disappear. Anchor this activation. Declare alignment. Signal readiness. If this message spoke to you, like this video. Liking is not vanity. It is agreement. If you feel the stirring to go deeper, subscribe to this channel. Subscription is not just support. It is positioning yourself for the next transmission prepared for you. And if you know another soul who is standing at the edge of awakening, share this message. Light multiplies when it is passed on. Write it in the comments now. I am aligned. I am ready. I am chosen. This channel exists for those who are done shrinking, done hiding, done delaying destiny. Here, we don't chase trends. We activate callings. We don't feed fear. We train sovereign minds. We don't numb the soul. We awaken it. Chosen one, stay close. More is coming. The next revelation is already forming. And when it arrives, it will meet you prepared. Until then, stand tall, guard your light, and walk boldly. You are not late. You are not lost. You are right on time.